Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session today we are going to see how we can handle a dynamic web table or any specific web table where the rows and columns are unknown to us. Okay, so we will see a couple of activities that we can perform into the web table and then how we can automate that by using webdriverIO. Okay, so now let's try to understand what are the different actions that we can perform or what are the different testings that we can perform in a web table. Okay, so the first thing, if you see a web table, let's first try to see that how exactly it renders into the HTML DOM. Okay, so if I right click and inspect it, and let me just expand it a bit, so you can see that the table is kind of represented as the tag is table. There would be some locator strategies or like the attributes will be there which you can identify the locators. There is a t head. So this is very optional. Certain of your tables might not have the header part, or maybe it would be part of your table as well. So t head is nothing but kind of a informational kind of thing where it would contain all of your column headers. You can see that. And then there would be only one tr under this t head, and you would see that inside this tr there would be th. Th is nothing but the table headers. Okay, so like this there would be a bit different. The actual body will be treated as a t body. Okay, like how t head is there, the same thing t body will be there. In this t body you will have specific rows, and each row will be treated as a tr. You can see under th it is tr, under t body as well it is tr, but there is a difference here. Each cell is represented as th, right? The same thing under your t body, it will be represented as td. You can see that these are all td. So that is the difference between th and td. Okay, so that is where we can identify. Now if you see, there is something peculiar thing here. You would see that you can see under this t body I have a tr, right? Inside this couple of tds are there, but not all the tds are same, because if you see, these are very straightforward where each cell, I call it as cell sometimes, or the table data. Now inside the data it is a pure text is present, some text is present, but couple of tds are there where there are some elements are present. Okay, you can see inside this td, that is my first column, first row, first column, there is a input tag is there, and which is type of checkbox. You can really check or uncheck this one. The same thing, there is another td which is towards the end. You can see there is a button actually. Okay, and if you click on this button it becomes deleted, and then if you refresh it, it becomes normal. So like that is there. Inside your table there might be some text, there might be some what you call the your links also will be there. You can see inside this links, so it could be text, it could be checkboxes, buttons, links, all of these things it can contain inside your table data. There is no restriction to that. So that is why I said that dynamic. So whenever we are going to automate these things, we won't be strictly keeping anything as a strict or hard-coded things. It has to be dynamic. Okay, so now enough of this HTML rendering. Now let's see what are the different actions we can perform actually for this table. Okay, one is actually, I can say that one requirement would be grab all the rows actually from this table and then count it. If you have a requirement where this particular screen have a table and which should be, the count should be more than 10, or let's say more than 1000, like that a requirement will be there. So it means that to verify that you need to grab all the rows, right, from this particular table, and then you will be counting that. Now to get all these rows, let me show you in the selectors hub. By identifying these elements, it is very easy actually. So if you want to identify this table, you need to just call this one. You can see the entire table is coming. I'm using CSS selector for my ease, but you can use XPath as well, because both of these are supported by webdriverIO. Now when I say t body, you can see the entire t body is now highlighted, and after that I'm making it as a tr. You can see 3 rows are identified. You can see here as well 3 elements matching. If I do a td, you can see that 15 elements are identified. It is excluding your t head. You can see that after table directly I'm calling the t body, then I'm calling the tr. In each tr all the tds are coming. So like that you can also build your XPath. Now you can see XPath or CSS selector. You see that I'm not really hard coding anything. So this returns me the number of elements irrespective of number of rows and columns are there. Okay, let's say that I want to get the t head. So you can just call like this, and you can see inside that I want to get all the tr. There would be only one tr. Inside that I want to get all the cells. I won't be entering td, rather I will be having th. You can see 4 elements are present. So like that you can grab it. Now what you can do, you can take this one into a browser.findElements, and after that you can just use .getText. You will get all the header names. Let's say that you want to get all this text actually from this cell. So what you can do, the before one, right? If I do a Control Z, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, you can see that. Now you grab this one as a browser.findElements, loop it, and then get the getText, so that you can grab all the text. For sure, for checkboxes and delete buttons, there is no getText. If you see this, for this checkbox, there is no text associated with that. So whatever you are getting, these things you will be getting. So this is the way you can identify all the elements actually. So we understood what are the different actions we can perform. Second thing is that what are the different, how to identify the table and the cells. There could be one of the requirement. Let's say that there is a requirement that all the first column data, irrespective of the rows, everywhere you should have a checkbox. The last column should have a delete button. Or let's say that in the entire table you should have a QTP as your text. This could be one of the requirement. Or the number of rows, number of columns in each row. Or let's say that you are always expecting the first row and second column value would be functional. Okay, like this one requirement would be. There are situations where it's a very real-time example I'm giving. Think about this is your table actually. Now what this table contains specific data, right, for each resources, for each client or for each user, or like let's say that it's a student portal where for each student it gives you the number of skills that the users are having. Let's say that like your job is to first identify how many rows are there. You can count the number of rows. After that, let's say that you are deleting one of these rows actually. Let's say I have deleted it. Now you count the number of rows. It would be only 2. Before it was 3, now it is only 2. For sure it is a static application. I don't have any backend code here. So what I did, whenever you are clicking on this checkbox and clicking on this delete, just to verify, I am changing this text name to deleted so that you can verify. It really will not delete from this instance. But in your real time, what you can do, you can select any specific checkbox. Let's say that there is a requirement. Any rows that is having GUI, you delete that. You click on this delete. So what would you do? You will be traversing through each rows. In each row, you need to traverse through each column. Then get the text, compare it with GUI. If it is matching, go to the respective checkbox which is on the first column, click on that and go to the respective button. See, buttons are always fixed. It's not like the checkbox will be here for the first row, for second row it would be here, the delete button would be here. Always the developers or the architects maintain a same GUI. Like for deleting, you should be having like this. Maybe there is a button here which would edit actually as a second column. You can edit certain details and then verify that, or delete it. Once it is deleted, verify your number of rows should be -1. Like this, different kind of actions you can perform, and also the verifications. Okay, so all these things whatever we have discussed, now let's try to implement that into the automation. And after getting this couple of things we will be discussing here, take that as a knowledge and then you can apply in your real-time applications. Okay, fine. So for this, the first thing is that I will be going into the samples and I will be creating a new file. Let's say that I will be copy pasting, or else from here let's say that I will copy this one and paste it here and do the necessary changes. Okay, so now the webtable test case is ready. Now here let me try to write couple of things here. So the first thing is that I need to identify this table, right? So what I can do, I can write here, like let's say this one, and table 01. This is what we have identified, right? And I will say that maybe let's say that I want to identify the entire table and then find out the number of rows. So let me print it into the console.log, and here I will say await, and then I would say like this, and then table 01 space t body space tr. So this would return me all the number of rows. Now in this case, because it is multiple ones, so I would consider it as $, and then here I will be saying that dot, I will say length, which would give me the number of rows actually here. Okay, let's say that I want to find it out the number of rows for the first column. Okay, so what I can do here, so the up to this is my what you call the number of rows, right? Let's say I want to fetch the first row, actually nth child, and this is pure CSS selector and Java your XPath. I'm using in this case the CSS selector, and here I'm taking this one. If you are not understanding this, you can just call this one and quickly get the selector sub. I would recommend when you are dealing with webtable, always get this one. It would be easy for you to understand this. Now here if I'm getting, this would give me the length of total number of columns in my first row actually. Let's quickly run this actually. So for this let me rename this to webtable test. Okay, and copy this and put it into this. Okay, now run this test case and see whether it is returning the correct input or not, output. And you can see total number of rows is 3, total number of column is 5, which is like correct one, right? But we won't be doing actually these simple things. Then our test case would be longer actually with those many actions that we have discussed to verify it, right? So what I'm going to do, I will create a utility file for this web table, and then there we will write the logic, and then we will be verifying them into this test case. So which would reduce the number of lines of the code, and also you can use that as a template for your framework designing as well. So let's get started and let's create a util folder actually here. Under this I will be creating a new file. Let's say that I will be keeping this name as webtable.ts. Okay, inside this we will be writing all the logics to identify the table and all the business flows of the table. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's create a class actually inside this webtable inside my util folder. So I will say export, I'll say default, and then class. Let's name it as webtable, or you can name anything. So inside this class we are going to have all the methods that is required to handle the table. Okay, fine. So the first thing is that we need to create a kind of a constructor which will accept the table locator actually. So let's see that, and for this I will be creating a variable first. So let's keep this as it is. I will show you what is the usage of that. But how do we create a constructor in TypeScript? Like this. And then inside this I will be accepting the table locator actually, and that would be a string type. Now inside this I will be adding I will be returning the table, actually the exact table element. So I will say await, and then I will say this dot table equal to, actually I'm not going to return this one because this will stay as it is only, because I'm going to see what exactly happens. When you create an object in my test, you will be passing the table locator, because you can have multiple tables, right? And depending on the test, you want to test different tables. That is why I'm making it as dynamic. So I will be creating a global variable of this class level, so that all other methods will be taking this table as a table element. So here I'm going to say that await. I think await is not required here. I'll just directly identify this one, where see I will be doing something like this, a tilde sign here, and I will be locating the variable actually. And this one we have already discussed in our beginning sessions, right, where the webdriverIO accepts the variable inside your locator, finding the element, right? So that is how I think I can even make an await. Okay, it's not taking, so no problem. Fine. So now this constructor is ready. Now how do I use it? So let's say that I want to create a new method. Let's say that get all rows. Okay, so this is one of my method, and inside this I want to grab, or I want to return like the number of rows. How do I do that? So here I will be taking this dot table means this one. So when I call the constructor in my test, this table will be assigned some value. Now I'm taking this table and I will be identifying all the rows of that table. Okay, how do I identify? T body. See, after table is nothing but the table 01 identifier. After that I'm taking the t body and tr. So this will return me the number of rows. The same thing I can get the all data. Okay, it's very simple. Now let's say that get all data elements. Let's say that get all data. Now here I will just have to do like this only. This will return me all the data, or you can say that get all data elements actually. So this is not exactly the text, but all the data in terms of web element array, it will be returning that. Let's say that I want to get a particular element text. Let's say that I'm providing my row number 1, column number 1, and then I want to get the text actually from there. So I can do that as well. So I will say get element, I will say text, and inside this I will be passing two parameters, row and column, and inside this I will be creating a variable. Let's say that this variable, this dot table dot, and then identifying this element. What would be that element actually here? See, the table is already identified. After that I want to get the individual text actually. So can I, now this is actually to grab all the data from the table. Now let's say that I want to just take a specific row and column. I can use the this one, right? I just shown couple of minutes back into the selectors hub actually. So here I will be specifying that variable. Simple concepts actually here. So instead of sending the hard code 1 there, the indexes, I'm making it as a dynamic actually. So here also nth child, and of here I will be specifying the column. Simple concepts I'm taking. Now you can see this row and column is evaluating based on the parameter that you are sending. Now this element, what am I going to do? I will return it. I will return await. I will take directly this get text. Simple concepts I will be using like this here. So you can see this concept is very simple as this one. If you see here, this one only. Okay, here tr I have taken as one hard coded, right? Instead of this you are taking the row variable parameter inside this. The same thing td, here you will be taking that. Okay, so like if you want to see here real quick, I will assign here, enter. You can see first row, first column, the index starts from 1 only here. So you shouldn't be worrying about those -1 or starting it as an informational from 0 all those things. Now I can use the same concept here. Let's say that I want to select a particular cell actually, or a particular table, row and column. Let's say that, so this is to get the text, right? Let's say I want to select this one. This is what actually, this one, right? The first row, first column. I will take the same concept. I'm all reusing the same concepts only. That's why I'm doing bit faster. Let's say that here I will be saying click on, I'm just giving some name. I'm saying that click on cell. Now here, see, clicking is that I'm not returning anything here. So I will just remove this await, and instead of this, I will just make it as click. Now the way it is returning the specific element text, the get text, the same thing I can even click on that element. We'll see all these things one by one. To execute and try to test our methods whether it is working fine or not. Okay, so I think these are pretty much different ways. Even let's say that a very good thing that so we got the number of rows, right? Can we reutilize this and get the count, like get the number of row count actually? So I will say that get rows count. Okay, how will I do that? Now if you see this one, till rows we are getting it, right? Why not I can put it into a bracket. Simply I will say length, and there is a length property, right, which would return me the get rows count here, or get number of rows, whatever name you can give here. Get column count, you can even do the same thing. Let's say that somebody want to see how many columns of a particular row has actually, that one. So I can take this one and I will just change a bit. Let's say that get column count. Let's say that get column count of a particular row actually here. Simple concept. Now here row I'm taking, it means that a tr nth child till here it will be there. The td will be entire td actually here. Okay, I'll show you that here as well into this. Think about, now I'm taking this one. Okay, I have already shown that to you guys. You see that I want to get all the cells of my first row. If I make it as second, it goes to the second row. Same concept I'm using here actually. Okay, let's say that first row details, and here I can say element dot length. I can do this one. So it will return me a specific rows total number of count. Okay, like that I can do that. So think about, there could be one situation I told, right, where you need to click on this particular checkbox and delete that. Let's say that there is a requirement if GUI is matching, in the sense in your rows wherever the GUI is matching, you select that checkbox and then click on the delete. Let's say it is a requirement. Let's say that now at this moment I have only one instance, right? Let's say 5 instances where GUI is present in any one of the cells. Again I'm saying, so this is not only fixed that I will be checking on my second column. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here. So based on wherever the cell is matching with GUI, select that respective checkbox and click on the delete. This is what we are going to do, and then we will identify all the test case. We will write the test cases against all of these methods. Okay, so let's write a method actually here. I'll say that some name I'm taking. Let's say that delete row having text actually, having text like this. Now here what I'm going to send actually, I will be sending a text actually, which is of type string, because I have to match it there. Now I will create one items variable. Same concept, the above method concept only I'm using, just a different way I'm doing that. So here I will say this dot, I'll say get all rows. You can see that I am using that concept here. What get all rows gives me? All the TRs, right, of this T body, means the entire rows I'm fetching first. What am I going to do with these rows? So I will again loop it actually. So let's say that await, I'll say items dot for each. I need to loop actually across this number of rows. This is even I can do like this also, rows, so that you can understand properly. So rows dot for each, what I'm going to do in this actually, so I will be taking each row actually from there. I think that is what the collection is all about, right? Inside this rows I will be creating cells actually here, cells. What am I going to do now? Each row I will be finding out all the columns actually of that, all the columns in this sense. Can I do like this, td? I think that is what I did, right? If you see here into this selectors hub, we did a concept actually here. Well, let me just copy paste this one real quick. Okay, so this one I'll take like this. Okay, so now you see that for tr nth child, okay, nth child 1, you see that, so till this one is nothing but each row actually, each row in this loop, each row, rows of td, rows of td, you can see here. Take the difference actually, even whether you are using XPath or CSS selector, doesn't matter. So I'm taking this td. Now what am I going to do? Again the same concept. Let's take this cells and loop it again. So here I'll just say await, okay, await cells dot, again I will do a for each here. Now inside this I will take the individual cell, and I will be checking actually the concept. What is that? I will say that if await cell dot get text is a method, cell is nothing but that individual cells, right? These individual cells, if it is containing a particular text, what is that text? I am making it as a dynamic, and here I will be playing a includes method actually, which is nothing but like a contains. If it contains, what am I going to do? That particular rows, first column I need to click it, then the last column I need to click it to delete this entire row. Now you might say that now you are trying to hard code it, the first column and last column. See, this is very appropriate because all these checkboxes and these delete buttons and any edit buttons, that will be always fixed across your table actually there. If it is different, then you might need to even pass those variables, which is again a cumbersome, right? Maybe what you can do, copy paste this one and add another method for different tables. Fine. So in this case, I'm making it like this. What is my row? You see that this is my row, right? So can I say like this, row is nothing but that specific row where this particular text got matched, and I will say that row of what actually? Not row actually, it's cells actually, because that cells, in each row we have grabbed all the cells, right? Cells of, let's say 0. Here I'm taking the index as 0 for the first column, and you will say dot click. The same thing I will be saying for the delete actually. For the delete, that would be cells of what is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my fourth column. Dot click. In this case, I will be verifying that this delete become deleted. You can even expect here a statement by saying that expect cells of 4 dot input dot get value. You see that this get value would have been changed. You can see dot get value to be deleted actually. That is just for your convenience. You can do that at this moment just to make things simplified. Anyway, we can see that, right, while we are executing this. So you can see that this will be getting deleted. After that, in your real life scenario, once it is deleted, you will see that the total number of row count will be reduced by 1. Like that you can even expect also. Fine. So I think pretty much we have covered all the table methods here. Now let's quickly go over to the test case and add one by one. Okay, either we will assert it, or else we will print it. So I will be commenting all these things. Now nothing is required. The question is coming, if I'm commenting here, how do I verify or how do I really get that method details actually. So what I can do, I can import that particular class actually here, import webtable from where actually. So I'm taking my root project, from there it is the util, and then I'm taking the webtable dot t, I think dot ts is not required. So like this you will be taking it. Let's see what, okay, it's declared but never used, no worries about that. So I will now call this, so inside it block I will create one table variable inside this, and I will say new webtable, but it will accept a parameter. So in this case I will be taking this as table 01. See, this is also a wrong approach actually. I shouldn't be hard coding any locators in my test case. That's where actually the page object concept is coming. Let's say this is I'm doing for the settings table actually. So I will be grabbing this particular locator from my settings.page.ts. We will see that while doing our page object concept. At this moment I'm hard coding it here. So this is done actually. Now I'm taking from here. I don't know why it is throwing this error. Okay, sorry, this spelling mistake actually here. Okay, now this table I will be taking and I will be grabbing lot of different ways actually. Let's say that I'm going to expect actually total number of rows. So I will say table dot get number of rows actually, get rows count. Get rows count is a method, and this to be 3. I'm expecting that as 3 number of rows, and here I'll make it as await. Okay, the same thing, let's say that I want to here I want to see on the first row I want to see 5 different items. So I think we taken a get column count, right? Let me call that. So here I will be taking this one, await table dot get cell count actually. So get control space bar column count of what? It accepts a row number, right? Let's say I'm keeping the row number as 1, but how many elements I'm expecting? Here 5. Now this get, if I go to the definition, it returns me the length, right? So that is why I'm expecting that a 5 actually here, like this. Let's say that I want to delete the row actually here. Now this is not an expect statement, but let's simply print this actually. Await delete, sorry, this has to be table actually. So table dot, I will say that delete rows having text. I'm giving some text. Let's say that I want functional. Let's say if it is matching, then you delete that. Fine, functional, that is it only here. Okay, now let's say that I want to click on a cell. If you see that there is a method that we have written here, right? Click on cell actually. So I'm taking this, I will do await table dot click on cell. Which cell? I have to provide the row and column. Let's say that the first row, first column, I want to click on that, so that I will see the checkbox is checked. Now all these things I'm putting here actually, 1 and then this one. Okay, you can use a lot of different options here. We have taken all these things, right? So you can use it, you can print, you can take this get all data and you can put a for loop inside that, but I just want to keep this very clean actually, which is just the business flows only. I don't want any kind of coding implementation here actually. So depending on your requirement, you can play with this. Okay, so enough of this coding. Let's try to see and execute this. I think we have already changed into the conf.ts, right? Now let's run this test actually here. So I will just make it as npm run webdriverIO. And you can see functional. I think there is some problem is happening with the async call. Let's get into this. Delete rows here. I got some issue. Let's see what. wait, you know what, here actually I have taken as a dollar only, but it has to be dollar because it will return me number of cells, right? That is why it has to be dollar. Let's see the other things. Actually, get element text is only one item, click on cell is one item. See, get all data, I'm taking $double because it will return me collection, right? Here also it should be $double actually, because I'm taking a count right here. The same thing, this is double, this is double. Table is only one, so there is no issues. Let's now try to print and see what is the problem. But let's see, okay, it is in for each only, right? I think there is some issue is happening. It is not really clicking on this particular, so it is checking that checkbox here, but it is not going to this particular block actually here. Let's see why. Let's see here what is the issue it is getting. Dot includes is not a method. Okay, so it is not able to try to identify this one. Okay, so probably it is not able to evaluate this text actually, text match. So let's try to see. And you can see now it printed. Okay, now you can see it is done. See, now what happened, you know, I have said that functional, wherever it is coming, you click on that checkbox. Then I said that first column, first row means it checked and unchecked it actually. So it checked in that execution. It first checked like this. And then I said that click on this particular cell. So it just clicked on this. So that's why any click, it will be checking and unchecking that. So that is what it is happened. But if you do this too, then it will be going a different one. Let's say that second row, first column. So I would say that second column, first row, and here let me give some weight, more weight, so that you can see. And you see first row is selected, and you can see second row, first column got clicked actually. And that's it. Now if you see here the output, you should be seeing proper output here. Did we do any? Okay, all the expect statements only we did. So it means that all these two expect statements got worked fine. These two statements anyway we have observed while running that. So this is the way you can handle a dynamic table, irrespective of you have 3, 4 or any columns. You can see that there is a assignment, you can take it. You see that there are a lot of rows and columns are there. You can try to see that in the first row there has to be a text called Edinburgh. You can verify that, you can expect that. Or you can say that total number of rows should be this much, whatever it is there. The header should contain these options. So you can take get header and take this into an array. Now you will have an expected array. Compare this both. You can take these things as well as there are a lot of permutation and combination actions. You can do it depending on your requirement. You can try to implement the logics. Okay, hope this session is helpful. Stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel. We will be looking into some more interesting topics of WebdriverIO. So thank you for watching.